Have you ever felt a deep sense of loneliness? Like the more you grow, the fewer people surround you? Maybe it seems like no one understands your path, and no matter how hard you try, relationships fade and friends drift away. If this resonates with you, I want to assure you, this isn't a coincidence. You are not being forgotten or abandoned. God has a plan for you, and sometimes that plan requires isolation. Today, we are going to dive deep into a truth many don't fully understand: why God isolates those He has chosen. If you've been feeling alone, questioning why you've lost friends or why you find yourself without close relationships, then you need to know this. It's because you are the chosen one. God is working on you, refining you for a higher purpose, and by the end of this journey, you will understand why isolation is not a punishment but rather a divine preparation. Being chosen by God is not an easy path. Throughout history, we see that those who are called to greatness often walk a lonely road. Think about it: Moses, David, Elijah, and even Jesus himself experienced intense periods of spiritual isolation before stepping into their divine purpose. Their solitude wasn't a sign of rejection, but rather preparation. God was removing distractions and aligning their hearts with His will. Consider the story of Jesus. Before He began His ministry, He was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, alone, for 40 days. No disciples, no friends, just Him and God. Why? Because this time of isolation was necessary for Him to be strengthened, to deepen His connection with the Father, and to prepare for the mission that lay ahead. Similarly, if you feel like you're in a season of being alone, this could be God's way of preparing you for your purpose. As a chosen one, your journey is unique. Not everyone is meant to understand it, and not everyone can walk it with you. This is why many chosen ones find themselves feeling alone. But trust me, this loneliness is not because there is something wrong with you. It's because God is setting you apart for something greater. One of the hardest lessons for a chosen one is understanding why God removes people from your life. Maybe you've lost friends, distanced yourself from family, or seen relationships end abruptly, leaving you wondering, why am I always left alone? The truth is, God's purpose for isolation is often to protect you. There are people in your life who are not aligned with your divine calling, and while they may not be harmful, they can hold you back from your full potential. It's like climbing a mountain. The higher you ascend, the more difficult the journey becomes, and fewer people can make the climb with you. At the base, it's crowded, and everyone seems to be with you. But as you go higher, the air gets thinner, the path becomes steeper, and only those who are equipped for the journey can continue. God isolates you because He knows not everyone is meant to go where He is taking you. For instance, think about a time in your life when a friendship or relationship ended, and you couldn't understand why. But looking back, you realize that person was distracting you from your purpose, or maybe they didn't support your vision. God often removes people who are not meant to go with you into your next season. And though it may feel painful, it's necessary for your growth as a chosen one. So why does God isolate you? Why does He allow you to feel so alone? The answer lies in the spiritual solitude that's necessary for transformation. When you are alone, you are forced to confront your own thoughts, your own doubts, and ultimately, to seek a deeper connection with God. In the stillness of your isolation, there are no distractions, just you and Him. Think of it like going to the gym. When you're in isolation, it's like spiritual weightlifting. Each moment of loneliness, every trial, is an opportunity to strengthen your faith, build your resilience, and grow spiritually. It's tough, sure. Sometimes you want to quit, but God is using this time to prepare you for something much bigger. This season of isolation is the perfect time for you to develop your relationship with God on a deeper level. Maybe you start by setting aside time each day for prayer, or perhaps you dive into Scripture more intentionally. A great place to start is by reading Psalms, particularly the chapters where David, also a chosen one, cried out to God during his moments of isolation. David's story is a powerful reminder that even when you feel alone, God is with you, working on your behalf. Now, let's address the difficult truth. Being a chosen one often means being without close friends. It can feel like a heavy burden to carry, but there is a reason for this. Not everyone is able to understand the path you are on. The calling God has placed on your life is unique, and sometimes He separates you from others because their presence would only cloud your purpose. Take Joseph, for example. His own brothers couldn't understand his dreams, and out of jealousy, they betrayed him. Yet, it was that very betrayal that set him on the path to becoming the ruler of Egypt, fulfilling the purpose God had for him. You see, sometimes isolation comes through separation from those you thought were close. God allows this because He knows that where you are going, they cannot follow. Maybe you've shared your dreams with others, only to be met with doubt or even hostility. But understand this, your journey is not meant for everyone to understand. You are chosen, set apart for a higher purpose, and sometimes that means walking the path alone. So, what should you do during this season of isolation? How can you make the most of this time? Seek God more intimately. Use this time to deepen your relationship with God. Pray, meditate, and ask Him to reveal the steps you need to take to fulfill your purpose. In your solitude, you can hear His voice more clearly. Work on your calling. This isolation is not a pause, it's preparation. What has God called you to do? Start working on it now. If you feel called to write, begin drafting your ideas. If you feel led to start a ministry or a business, now is the time to lay the foundation. For example, if you feel called to lead, maybe this is the time to study leadership skills, take a course, or dive into the work you know you're destined to do. God is giving you this time to focus on your calling without distractions. Embrace the process. Understand that isolation is part of God's process for the chosen ones. Just like a seed needs time in the dark soil before it can grow into a plant, you need this time of isolation to grow. Don't rush the process. Trust that God is working, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Being chosen by God is one of the greatest blessings, but it's also a path that few truly understand. As a chosen one, your journey is set apart. You are walking a road that is meant to elevate you, to transform you, and to prepare you for a purpose far greater than you can see right now. But with that comes a season of spiritual isolation. And this isolation, though painful at times, is not a punishment. It's a profound blessing in disguise. In these moments of loneliness, when you feel cut off from others, that's when God is the closest. He's removing the distractions, the voices that don't belong, the people who are not aligned with your destiny. He is stripping away the unnecessary so that what remains is your pure, unshakable connection with Him. It's in this solitude that you will find clarity, purpose, and the strength you didn't know you had. Think about it. The chosen ones in history, Moses, Elijah, even Jesus, all went through periods of isolation before stepping into their divine calling. Why? Because God needed to refine them, to make sure they were fully aligned with His plan before revealing them to the world. And that's what He's doing with you. This is a season of growth. Right now, you are like a seed planted deep in the soil. It's dark, it's quiet, and it may feel lonely. But beneath the surface, God is working. He's developing your roots, strengthening your foundation, and preparing you to break through into something much greater. Just because you can't see the growth yet doesn't mean it's not happening. Every moment of solitude is a step closer to the person God is shaping you to be. So, when you feel alone, when you wonder why it seems like everyone else has moved on or found their circle, remember this: God's divine plan is often different from what we expect. Isolation doesn't mean you're being left behind. It means you're being set apart for something higher. God sees you. He hasn't forgotten you. In fact, He's using this time to prepare you for your greatest calling. In your solitude, He is teaching you to rely solely on Him. He's showing you that your worth, your value, your identity is not found in the approval of others but in your relationship with Him. And this is crucial because, as a chosen one, your purpose is too important to be swayed by the opinions of the world. God is isolating you so that when the time comes, you will be ready, fully equipped, fully focused, and fully aligned with His will. Think of this time as a sacred retreat. In the silence, God is whispering to you, guiding you, and building the foundation for something extraordinary. It's easy to feel discouraged, to wonder why you're alone, but you must remember, the higher the calling, the more profound the preparation. And isolation is God's way of preparing His chosen ones. When the world finally sees you, they will see someone who has been refined by fire, someone who has been strengthened in the quiet, and someone who is unshaken because their foundation was built during the moments of isolation. Your story is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. You are the chosen one. God has separated you from the crowd because your path is not like anyone else's. So embrace this time. Use it to grow, to seek Him, and to prepare for the incredible journey ahead. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and God is working in your life, even in the silence. Now that you understand the power behind your isolation, it's time to take action. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with others who may be struggling with their season of loneliness and need to hear this truth. Subscribe to the channel for more insights and encouragement as we walk this journey together. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're the first to know when new content is available. Remember, God has isolated you for a reason. He's chosen you, and even though it may feel lonely right now, He is preparing you for something greater. Embrace this season, trust the process, and know that your time is coming. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay in faith. You are chosen,